Let's say that you're a homeowner who wants to install a new water heater, or wants to do a home addition. Or maybe you're a developer who wants to develop a multi-story mixed-use building downtown. All of these instances have one thing in common. They all require building permits. And expediting this process is what is being attempted by Measure F, which will appear on the 2020 election ballot for Oxnard voters. Alright, so first let's do some basic info on permitting. Cities like Oxnard have building codes that regulate building and engineering safety for structures. What will typically happen is that plans for the applicant's work will be submitted to the city engineering staff for review. They will check for adherence to building codes and will return the plans with any needed corrections. The plans are then corrected and resubmitted to the city for another review. So long as everything's in order and no additional corrections are needed, the project gets the okay to move forward. Then the applicant pays any associated permitting fees and is issued their permit. That all seems simple enough. So you may be wondering, why is there a ballot initiative going to the voters that is looking to change this process? Well, the planning department for a city the size of Oxnard has a fairly large workload, and until recently was using decades-old computer software and doing handwritten fee calculations. In the past, this obviously led to long wait times for permit applications. Measure F seeks to change the city's permitting process by allowing certain professionals the ability to self-certify their projects. Through this self-certification, they can bypass the detailed planning review and obtain their permit within one day. So who would be allowed to self-certify? Well, this list includes architects, geologists, mechanical, fire, electrical engineers, licensed contractors, and interior designers. The initiative requires that these professionals would need to complete a self-certification class that would be developed and taught by the city. After which, with any of their self-certification projects, the professional would be providing assurance that their project has all paperwork in order, meets permit simplicity criteria, has needed pre-approvals, plan sheets are in compliance with codes, has had peer reviewer approval, and is in compliance with laws. So long as the applicant has been trained in self-certification and provided these assurances, they can bypass the plan check by the city and move forward toward getting their permit. The actual initiative language mentions several cities that have also had such self-certification or permit simplicity programs. Of the cities listed in the language, one decided not to do the program after all, and 2 cities have discontinued the programs altogether. As you can see on the table here, all of the cities mentioned by the initiative also have only certain types of projects that are allowed to be self-certified. Regarding Oxnard specifically, the initiative language states, any project is eligible to seek approval. So that means that simple routine projects such as new water heaters or re-roofs, or residential home additions, or as complex as multi-story mixed-use developments could elect to skip the plan check process by being self-certified by the applicant. So you may also be wondering, if there's no plan check anymore for these projects, what if there are problems? How are those found? Measure F would institute what are called field revisions and audits. Essentially, any issues that are found by inspectors during the construction phase would need to be corrected before any work could continue. So instead of being caught on paper, these issues would be caught out in the field. For some additional consideration on what is being proposed by the initiative, you may recall that Boeing's entire 737 MAX fleet has been grounded since March 2019. The 737 MAX is a model which utilized self-certification by Boeing and sadly led to the loss of 346 lives in 2 separate aviation crashes. The initiative also imposes a peer review process as one of the components that replace a thorough plan check. In March 2018, an under-construction pedestrian bridge collapsed at Florida International University. According to a report by the U.S. Department of Labor, the engineering firm selected Louis Berger Group to conduct the required peer review of their design, foundation, substructure, and superstructure. The report goes on to say that, unfortunately, Louis Berger did not examine the structural design of the main truss during intermediate stages of construction. Even though 3 certificates of peer review were provided by Louis Berger to the engineering firm. While these may seem like extreme examples, they certainly deserve discussion and consideration if Oxnard voters are going to be considering whether to allow all types of projects in the city to be self-certified. In summary, let's review some of the initial outcomes should the voters decide to adopt Measure F. First, there'd be no limits on the types of projects that can be self-certified. It allows applicants to receive the permit very quickly, and it takes some of the workload off of the planning department. In looking at potential drawbacks, there are no limits on the type of project that can be self-certified. It removes the thorough review by the planning department. Remember the red circles? Audits would occur after construction begins, and any problems found could lead to a work stoppage. Self-certification curriculum would need to be developed by the city, and design professionals may need to take on more liability because the city is no longer thoroughly reviewing. This may be a possible cost increase passed on to the consumers. I would like to take a moment to give special thanks to Mr. Jeff Lambert, who provided some really great information in understanding how the planning and permitting process really works. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you were able to get some information to help you on this really important election year. If you enjoyed this content, I hope you'll consider liking and sharing this video, subscribing to my channels or to my social media accounts @_GTPro.